this game, greatness is measured by the moments that defy the odds. The crack of the bat, the roar of the bleachers, and the rare perfect sequence of excellence. From the first pitch to the final out, we aren't just watching the game, we're breaking it down. From the Empty the Bench Network, it's time for you to step into the box. You are hitting for the cycle. And now, here's your hosts, Ben Kruse, David Weightman, and Ryan Touhey.
And hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 9. What's up?
Microphone. Oh, wait, now I got you.
You hear me?
Yep.
Hello, episode 92 of Hitting for the Cycle. I'm your host, Ben Kruse, alongside my co-host, Ryan Touhey, and my other co-host, David Weightman. David, welcome back, my friend, of course, after missing last week, as you were working March Madness over in your area in Philadelphia. Of course, we talked about that off the air for the show, so I have a pretty good idea how that went for you. But Ryan, obviously, welcome back once again. We have a big episode for you guys because today, folks, is opening day. And I know, Ryan, obviously your team played last night. That was kind of more opening night. So I don't really count it as opening day for last night because, of course, they played last night. But regardless, baseball is back. I think everybody's excited, including for us, because this is really kind of the peak part of our network and for our show. And we cannot wait to bring more of this stuff for you guys. But before, of course, we get started, to make sure to follow us on YouTube. Also, make sure to follow the Empty the Bench podcast network at ETV Network. Make sure to follow Hitting for the Cycle at HFTC ETB. And, of course, just make sure to follow us on all of our platforms down here on the ticker bar below. Also, make sure to follow me on my X at bkruse90, Ryan at R297, and Weightman stats for David. All right, guys. Really quickly, Ryan and David, how are you guys doing? Of course, forgot to really ask before we got into our show. It's opening day. Ryan, of course, your team played last night. We'll talk about that. David, our teams played today. Sox on the Reds. David, your team plays the Rangers over in Philly. So how are you guys doing before we get started?
I'm doing swell. I'm excited that it's finally here. 2026 baseball season, obviously, like you mentioned, kicked off last night. The Yankees handled their business in dominant fashion, which we'll go over later on in the show. But, yeah, I'm just excited and cautiously optimistic and hoping for big things this year from the Yankees.
All right. You, David?
Yeah, there's a couple things. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the Phillies do today. I'm looking forward to seeing how Sanchez, with his new contract and everything else, does against a decent Texas team. I'm also looking forward to some other matchups today, especially the one up at Flushing, New York with Skeens and Peralta. That should be interesting.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you know what? I will say, at least in New York, the weather is always kind of a mystery, because Ryan can, of course, alluded to with the Yanks. But next week, I think, of course, both of you guys will know. Hopefully, the show that we do will hopefully be next time around this time next week, or else it might be a Dave and Ryan show, because I'll be at opening day for the Red Sox next Friday. And just hopefully for the weather, it looks okay. Doesn't look great as of right now, but time will tell, because obviously it's still a couple days out. But we'll see what happens. But like Ryan said, baseball is back. We're excited for this. And basically, in terms of for our show, of course, we're going to be talking about the opening day matchups. Obviously, some extensions that, of course, happened before opening day started. We're, of course, going to talk about, obviously, how the game last night with the Yankees and Giants started on Netflix, how that went, what we liked, what we didn't like. And then, obviously, we'll get into some of the predictions for the games today. And obviously, Ryan might have to put on the doctor cap at the end with some injuries. So that will do that. So, all right, let's get started. And obviously, we will start with some of the extension stuff that happened around the league. And obviously, one of them happened with David's Phillies. Once again, David, we talked about this. I think it was just the solo show, me and you, 2 weeks ago with Zardo getting his. But now they extend Christopher Sanchez as well. I'm sorry I did not put the details in for the deal. I think I'll just ask David for the details because he'll probably know already. But PCA with the Cubs, hell of an extension for the Cubs. This is a guy who, granted, he had a very, very good first half last year. He really kind of fell off in the second half last year. But the Cubs really, keep their core guys. They're going to be one of the best teams in the National League, I think, for a long period of time, as long as they have some guys around with that team. At least offensively, that pitching staff should be really, really solid. I've talked about the Cubs at a premium. I picked them to go to the World Series last year. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But, even the World Baseball Classic, PCA for Team USA was a massive, massive part to it. Had some big-time swings. Almost had the comeback with, honestly, the 2 swings of his own against Italy. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But, of course, he was just a very, very big part in the bottom half of the lineup. And he's going to be a big part of the lineup for the Cubs. So I guess I'll go to Ryan first to start. How do you feel about with the Cubs signing PCA to this extension? Do you think it was a fair deal, not a great deal? How do you think it will be for the Cubs moving forward?
I think it's a fair deal for PCA.
Yeah.
I think PCA is an electric ball player. I mean, he's a terrific outfielder. I mean, he makes it look effortless out there, and he's blazing speed. And there's a lot of potential that has yet to be even realized with him, if you ask me. I mean, he's only 24 years old, so this is a 6-year deal. So this is going through his age 30 season. So I think it's a reasonable deal for the Cubs. And they're going to build their team around PCA. He's going to be one of the pillars of that Cubs team for the next 6 years, obviously. PCA, the only downside to him is that he can be a little bit streaky at the plate, like you mentioned. He got off to a blazing hot start last year and then fell off a cliff after the All-Star break. So he's still trying to find a little bit of consistency, but this is only going to be his 3rd full season in Major League Baseball. But this is really the year, I think, usually by year 3 or year 4, I think you can really tell the trajectory of a baseball player and where their career is going to go. But I think it's a good deal for the Cubs. I think PCA is a very solid player, and I definitely think he can improve over time. Like I said, he hasn't even really hit his prime yet, so I definitely think there's a lot of potential there. So I think it's a good deal for the Cubs, and I like it.
Yeah, you talked obviously about the splits from last year, Ryan, which I'll get into, but I want to ask David how he feels about PCA first with the deal.
He's the face of the franchise. Like Ryan said, he's 24 years old. He's probably going to have another big contract after this, so he'll be 30. Right now, you can say to a certain degree, you can say maybe him and Bregman are the 2 faces, but in due time, Bregman's going to, tail off and then he'll retire. But so, he had 31 home runs last year, averaged 247. I'm looking at here. So he's only going to go up. I feel like in terms of like his production and just the way he plays the game and stuff. So great deal for Chicago. They can now, like I said, build their franchise around him with some other pieces, and more the merrier for him in terms of the money part.
Yeah. So in terms of the overall actual splits that he had for the first half and the second half, so the first half he had a really good slash line of 265 average, 25 homers, but then fall in the second half where he had a 216 average with only 6 home runs. So pretty much the majority of his, 31 homers is total. So majority of his stuff was from the first half. But like Ryan said, regardless of whatever it was, he's an electrifying player. And as well, too, he brings very, very good defense. So that's also a really good thing to have for the Cubs to have some really good defense as well, too. And I know, obviously, I think, Dave, you mentioned that, Bregman is kind of really the only guy there. I would kind of respectfully disagree. I do think that there's some other guys there that they really could really kind of build them around. Look at a guy like Nico Horner. Look at a guy like Michael Bush. Some guys that are really kind of coming to their own. And you also can't forget about Seiya Suzuki. I mean, this guy is an absolute ball player. This guy can hit for massive, massive power. So I do agree. I think Bregman is kind of the pillar guy. Of course, I'm wearing the Bregman shirt. Or a guy that should still be around. But if anywhere he can go to, I'm very happy for him to go to the Cubs. I just think it's a very, very great run organization, headlined by Jed Hoyer, and PCA definitely will be around there for the foreseeable future. All right, so another guy too, and this will of course be going over to David. David, man, I gotta give Dabrowski some credit. I mean, credit he didn't really go out in the offseason and get a lot of big time guys away from the team, but in terms of in-house, he did very, very well. And to keep another guy in that rotation to a long-term type of deal, this Phillies rotation is set for years, man. And you got some guys now that are set for a while, and some really, really good guys. And Christopher Sanchez, Phillies got this guy locked up. He's one of the terms to me, he's one of the best underrated arms in the league that a lot of people don't really give a lot of credit for. But I saw him at firsthand against my Red Sox, and man, oh man, he carved us up. He carved us up, made us look silly. Went 9 innings down the distance last year. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more you can say. This was a hell of a extension that the Phillies had to make, and they got it done. So now you have two southpawers. Obviously alongside Wheeler coming back, and listen, the sky's the limit for the Phils. I picked them to go to the World Series for a reason. Hopefully it just comes down to their bats. Can the bats be able to wake up when it matters? Kind of like with Ryan's Yankees. Of course, for a fact what the pitching can bring, but can the offense that definitely has been underperforming a lot in the postseason, can it kind of lift it up to kind of get to some new heights? But what do you think, David, about this new extension for Sanchez?
This is John Middleton. He wants to win more than anything. Mm-hmm. He locked up Luzardo. If you look at the team, they've locked up Luzardo long term, locked up Sanchez long term. I mean, they're getting looking at the future down the road. They're going to have Painter. Hopefully, if he, like you said, he's on the rotation now. Then probably in another year or two, their first round pick from a year ago, Gage Wood from Arkansas, he'll be with that rotation. So you can see that they want to get the pieces together in terms of the rotation for the future, because Wheeler's got 1 or 2 more years after this, then he'll retire. I mean, he already said this is his last contract. Noel is still early 30s, and he's starting to, he tails off, whatever. Walker's going to be gone. So in terms of Sanchez, love the deal. It's 6 years for 107. So Sanchez loved it, loves Philly. Mm-hmm. Family, he even said that my family loves it here. So yeah, he was top 5 last year, I think, in the National League for the Cy Young. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm expecting big things from him now. I mean, he's really, in due time, he's probably going to be the ace of the staff.
I agree.
Possibly with him or Luzardo. I mean, Painter is always a possibility too, but if you sign something that big for that much money, you should be the ace of your staff.
Last year, David, his stats: 13-5, 2.50 ERA, 12 strikeouts. That's the biggest thing I'll take away. The guy can have absolute punch outs when it matters most. And Ryan, you want to hear this? He's a 1.6 whip. This guy specifically, awesome deal for you guys, David. And like I said, the set with the Phillies, they're going to be set for years. And I definitely expect some big things for you guys this year. Ryan, what do you think about this Christopher Sanchez extension?
I think it's a very good deal for the Phillies, like Dave said. And you look at the previous 2 seasons from Sanchez. I mean, he's gotten better with each. The past 2 seasons really jump out at you. I mean, he went from a 3.32 ERA in 24 to a 2.50 ERA in 25. And, like you mentioned, his numbers have just gotten better and better with each passing year. So now he's right in the prime of his career. You hope that he can continue this trend for a couple more seasons. I mean, the only thing that I think would be raising my eyebrows just a little bit is because it is a 6-year contract. I mean, he's 29 throughout this season. So this is going to go through his age 35 season. You just hope that, but towards the end of this contract, he's still putting up respectable numbers. That's the only thing that I would just raise my eyebrows. But other than that, I think it's a very good deal for the Phillies, and I think they have a very legitimate ace going to be leading that rotation in the coming years.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's the type of signing that you had to make, and they made it. So give a lot of credit to the Phillies for getting that stuff done. All right, so obviously we're going to get into last night with the first game of the Major League Baseball season. That went down. Of course, I'll let Ryan kind of do the talking because, of course, it was from his team that happened last night. And like me and David kind of talked about, David, you said that you kind of really watched more of the highlights. For me, I watched maybe about 2-3 innings. My Celtics were having a big game against the Thunder last night, and my Bruins had a big game against the Sabres. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of focusing more on that than anything. but I did kind of watch some bits and pieces kind of start. I'll say this. With the Yankees scored 7 runs without homers, which I thought was kind of interesting because we talked about them really finding ways in the postseason, at least in the last several years, Ryan, in which it's really home run or bust. And we obviously have it's granted it's only one game of 162, so of course take it with a grain of salt. But the fact that they scored 7 runs and Aaron Judge basically put him an absolute stinker of a game, I think for Yankee fans, you kind of feel pretty good about it. Especially because you face, the Giants ace and Logan Webb, obviously coming off a big WBC, and Max Fried. Max Fried, of course, the Yankees, of course, are going for a 4-man rotation. They sent Luis Seal down to AAA to start the year. They obviously kind of feel good about the 4-man rotation. Max Fried put up an absolute clinic of a game last night, going 6 shutty strong. And, the Yankees really just kind of put their runs really pretty much in bunches early on. I think it was in the 3rd inning, Ryan, where they had 5 runs.
That was second inning. Second inning.
Second inning, thank you. That's pretty much how much I really watched that game last night. But it was early on. Austin Wells had a big game. Trent Grisham had a couple of big hits. And Ryan McMahon at the bottom of the order. Jose Caballero did some good things. So, and then obviously Giancarlo Stanton did not get hurt in the first game. So that's obviously a success in itself. So, all in all, I think, Ryan, you did pretty well. And, of course, you guys are off today, because you guys played last night. So, wow. And then you guys play the rest of the series this weekend.
Yeah.
I can't really, for my sake, I don't have a great hate watch myself, but I don't really hate watch the Yankees. It's all in all just all in fun. But good one for you guys. And what do you think I have to say about it?
So it's a nice way to start the season. Obviously, I won't complain about winning on opening day, even though it's only the first game of 162.
You got to feel pretty good about that.
Like I mentioned in our last week's episode, second time in 4 years, the Yankees opened up the season against the Giants. Obviously, the previous time in 23 was at Yankee Stadium, but this time was in San Francisco. And for the second time in a row against the Giants on opening day, they beat Logan Webb, and they whacked him around pretty good in the second inning. And like you mentioned, they did it without a home run, which was very nice to see. Jose Caballero got this scoring started with an RBI single. That was followed by an RBI single from Ryan McMahon that scored 2. Trent Grisham hit an RBI triple. He was the first Yankee to hit a triple on opening day since your boy, Johnny Damon, in 2009.
Wow.
So, it's been a long time since a Yankee hit a triple on opening day. Yankees added a couple more runs in the top of the 7th. And like I said, they pretty much breezed their way to a 7-0 victory. Max Fried earned his first win of the season. He pitched great. He went 6 1/3, only gave up 2 hits and struck out 4. The Yankee bullpen was pretty solid. And, can't really complain too much about what you saw from the Yankees last night, other than Aaron Judge recording a golden sombrero, 4 strikeouts in the game for the captain.
That was the third Yankee to do that, Ryan. So
he does that. He does that sometimes. As good of a player as Aaron.
Starts, but I will say there was some stuff in WBC from him that I was a little bit worried about, and that was just obviously me, being just a little bit critical about it. But if you score 7 runs without Aaron Judge kind of doing his thing, he obviously will be the least of your worries. So I think you got to feel pretty good about it.
Yeah. I'm not worried about Judge, but he does have a tendency to sometimes record. As good of a player as he is, though, he does have a tendency to record a lot of 3 strikeout games and a lot of golden sombrero games. And that's just going to happen.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine. I'm not too worried about it. So Yankees begin the season on the right foot. Won 7-0. Held the Giants to only 3 hits the entire game. The only hits from the Giants last night came from Luis Ariz, Rafael Devers, of course, and Heliot Ramos. So nice one for the Yankees. And like you mentioned, they have today off. Kind of a weirdly structured opening series for them to begin the season. They begin the season on a Wednesday in the middle of the week, and then they play the second and third games of the series on Friday and Saturday, and then they have a very rare Sunday off tomorrow, this weekend, before they go to Seattle for the second half of this opening week of the season on the West Coast for them. So. Very good series. Very good opening day for the Yankees. This is with the win last night. They have now won 8 of their last 9 opening days. And all of them have been under Aaron Boone, obviously. Before this stretch of 8 wins in their last 9 opening days, they had lost their previous 6 straight opening days from 2012 to 2017. So they've kind of reversed the trend a little bit here. So opening day has been very good to the Yankees for the past decade. So, yeah, that's how I feel about the game. And now, do you want to rant a little bit on Netflix and the production that they put on for us?
Yeah, sure, I guess.
Not really rant, but I just wanted to say a few things about the production in general of what Netflix did last night.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I want to complain about right off the bat was the score bug, which I thought was absolutely terrible. The score bug looked like a train ticket that you buy online on an app. I mean, if you look at the score bug, I just got to quickly pull this up because I'm trying to remember. Well, first of all, the wording on the score bug, especially above the pitcher's last name and the hitter's last name, was so freaking small you could barely make it out. You would have to go right up to the TV screen to actually see what it looked like. So that was one complaint right off the bat for their score bug. And in addition to that, they have the pitcher's name at the very top of the score bug, followed by the hitter's name right below it. And then they have like a little icon, like a P icon right next to the pitcher's name. It looks like a P. It looks like a train. It looks like a train, like the P line, basically. That's basically what it looks like. I think it looked absolutely ridiculous. The pitch count was very small. Like I said, the very top of the score bug was really ridiculous. I also thought it was unnecessarily larger than it needed to be in general. But that was one complaint that I had. Second complaint: the catcher's head was erased several times during the broadcast. I don't know if you saw that. It was like a green screen, basically.
Like I said, Ryan, I did not watch a lot of this game, so you're really going to be the guy that kind of to bring the show here.
Yes, the catcher's head disappeared several times during this broadcast. At several times, the quality significantly went down. It was very pixelated, so it was not clear at all.
I saw the one thing I did see, Ryan, and there was a shot of my boy Rafi actually at the plate where the lighting, I think, with it was
the lighting was bad. Oh, it was bad. The camera, I don't know I don't know what they had the camera settings to, but it was too bright. I understand that the conditions on opening day last night. It was tricky conditions because half the field was in the sun and home plate area was in the shade. So I understand it could be a little tough, but still the camera, the settings on the camera were too bright. The sky was white essentially. It wasn't even blue. So that I don't know what they had for the settings on the camera. I'm a former cameraman myself for sporting events, so I don't know what they were doing there. And also, lastly, there were too many unnecessary celebrity cameo appearances.
That was bad.
I did not need to see John Cena at the beginning of the pre-show or of the pregame show. I did not need to see Bert Krashner in McCovey Cove, shirtless in a kayak. I didn't care to see that. Jason Bateman, I think he's a terrific actor. I love a lot of his stuff. Big fan of Arrested Development. I did not need to hear him talk about how great the 7th inning stretch is. Just get to the 7th inning stretch. I understand this is now more – their baseball's trying to go for a more cinematic feel for their broadcast productions now. But the problem is they were forcefully trying to do way too much with all of this, and it just did not come across as natural. It just came across as more annoying and irritating more than anything else. So that's my little spiel on the Netflix production in general. The one last thing that I just wanted to touch on that I thought was pretty interesting. Oh, yeah, that was bad. Oh, yeah, when they did the split screen, by the way, when they're talking with Jazz Chisholm, Jazz was mic'd up, which I don't like at all. If you want to do that during an exhibition game like the All-Star game, spring training, that's fine, but doing it in the regular season, I hate that. And also, when they did the split screen for Jazz, they didn't have the score bug up on the center field camera shot of Fried delivering the ball, so you didn't know what the score was. So I guess that's one thing that I would have liked. That was the one time I would have liked to have seen the score bug. But other than that, the whole production was just very sloppy. It was just so ridiculous. I just missed the days of cable, man, where every game was just on cable, whether it was on ESPN, Fox, Yes Now, or whatever it may be. It's too many streaming services, and it's just getting more and more annoying. But the one thing that I just wanted to, the last thing I promise is that Barry Bonds almost became a Yankee, apparently. That was interesting. I don't know.
I did hear, was it George said something where he would have.
Yeah, according to Barry Bonds, once he became a free agent after the 92 season with Pittsburgh, he was one of the teams he was being pursued by was the Yankees, and he was strongly considering signing with them, apparently. And George, when Steinbrenner offered him a contract, apparently he was going to make him the highest paid player in baseball, but he had to sign by 2:00 that same afternoon. And Barry said, "Are you kidding me? I haven't even had lunch yet." And by that point, he wanted no part of it. And obviously,
Ryan, I don't know if you also saw this as well. I'm looking on just X about a bunch of shit. I mean, most people that I've seen on Twitter are really just having a lot of bad stuff about it. But apparently, they were showing a mid-game interview during the first ABS challenge. Is that what I just saw as well? Jose Caballero, for those that are listening to what I'm talking about, Jose Caballero, of course, the ABS, of course, has happened now. And the first challenge in MLB history was lost by Caballero. But this, of course, is what Netflix decided to really focus more on than this. So take a look.
So much battle, a battle that you're going to see at each at bat.
I see your guys talking after they face Max Fried. What are they sharing? What are they seeing?
I think just the shapes of the pitches. I think there's a couple things that are different than maybe in the past, or some things that they've seen in particular tonight. So they're just trying to communicate and stay ahead of the game.
Appreciate it tonight.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Laura, thanks. We've had our first ABS challenge. But also everyone.
I mean, what are we doing? Do not do Netflix on opening day ever again. So.
All right, well, let me just say this. I could care less who had the first ABS challenge in Major League Baseball history. That's besides the point, though. There were too many interviews throughout the game as well.
During the game?
Yes. That was ridiculous. It just, the whole production was just a mess.
All right.
Honestly, I'm not surprised it was a mess. I knew it was gonna be lackluster.
All right. Well, we know it's not lackluster is we got opening day back today. Baseball's back. That should be happy about it. No Netflix today, so we don't have to worry about that stuff for sure. So obviously, David, in my teams, of course, open up the seasons today. Like David, you mentioned, you're obviously intrigued about some other match, of course, besides that. Ryan, obviously for yourself today, my friend, I think we talked last week about some games that we're kind of interested in, at least for today. We talked about, of course, the Tigers take on the Padres today, with Tarek Skubal taking on, I think, Michael King. No, Nick Pivetta. Well, Nick Pivetta's their opening day. I love me some Nicky P, but I was thinking it was going to be Michael Caine. All right. My boy Nathan Eovaldi's taking on your Phillies, David, and Philly against Christopher Sanchez. So not only he gets an extension, but he gets to take the ball on opening day. So he's having a really good couple of days here. Diamondbacks taking on the Dodgers tonight. That should be obviously a fun one. You got Zach Gallen against Yamamoto. Dodgers obviously raising another. They're not doing it better, obviously tonight now, but they're probably having something for their second straight World Series from last year. Guardians Mariners could be very underrated. The Guardians are just kind of they're the team this year. Twins Orioles. Twins are gonna be terrible. Washington Nationals Cubs. I think it's really cool to have Wrigley Fields being at opening day, but outside of that, the Nationals stink. Pirates and Mets, though, I think the Mets are going to have a really good crowd today at Citi Field. I'm very curious to kind of see how their team looks today. Of course, they had honestly one of the bigger off seasons, moving on from Alonso, moving on from Diaz, moving on just from a lot of pieces. Of course, I guess I'll ask with Ryan you first, because Obviously, your team, of course, is on the other side of the city, but let's kind of translate over to the other part with the Mets. And we talked about the Mets a little bit near in the offseason. What are some things that you're kind of looking forward to in terms of the Mets with their kind of their new structure of their team with David Stearns? And of course, they're taking the field today, and obviously they're taking the field against one of the best pitchers in the game, in Paul Skeens today.
I'm really interested in seeing how their rotation holds up this year. Their rotation was a major problem last year. I mean, the addition of Peralta obviously strengthens it. You got him. You also have David Peterson in there. So those are. I'm sorry,
McLean.
Yeah. So their rotation should already be better this year than it was last year. You just hope that these additions back it up, and you hope that their rotation helps strengthen the team. The lineup, I'm a little curious to see how that looks without Pete Alonso. I mean, that's definitely lacking some pop in that lineup. So, majority of the pop's probably going to be coming from Soto this year. But, Bo Bichette is a professional hitter. He'll hit you close to 300 basically every single season. So, add a little more contact to the Mets. So those are just a few things off the bat. But I think when it comes to the Mets overall, their pitching is the one thing that I'm curious about, both their rotation and their bullpen, because both areas really struggled last year.
Yeah, the biggest worry about the Mets, I think, is the bullpen. I mean, say what you want about Edwin Diaz, but losing Edwin Diaz, I think, just is massive. It just is. In terms of a guy that can just get the shutting down, and obviously just losing him is big. So obviously, Ryan, the Mets will go from him to your former boys, Luke Weaver and Devin Williams. So Met fans enjoy that, because I don't know how they're going to feel about that for sure. I do think they're going to obviously have some rocky moments, but I will really quickly want to give the starting lineup for the Mets for today really quick. So you got Lindor, Soto, Bichette, Polanco, Luis Robert, who I do actually expect some big things from the Mets this year. Beatty, Simeon, Carson Bench. Really quickly, guys. Yeah. The Mets did call up one of their top prospects, Carson Bench. And David, what do you think about that, by the way, with the Mets bringing up one of their top prospects and to be in the starting lineup for opening day for them today?
It's a nice way to make your major league debut facing a guy who throws 100 miles an hour and has a ERA under 2. It's like, welcome to the big leagues, kid. Yeah. They talked about him. I know there's guys in their pipeline that they, both pitchers and hitters, that they were told about bringing up, and he's one of them. He's 23 years old. We'll see what he does. They said it's going to be interesting to see how that whole team is in general. Like you said, you're moving Juan Soto to left field. It's not as if you got a Gold Glover out there with him, but we'll see how. Like I said, with Carson Bench, we'll see what he does out there. He might light the world on fire, or like I said today, I really am not going to grade him one game when you're facing Paul Skeens. If he strikes him out 4 times, good God, yeah.
He could pull up an Aaron Judge from last night. Right, sorry, Ron. I didn't want to obviously mention that to you, but he could pull up an Aaron Judge from last night, and I think anybody would say, "Oh, here we go." Okay,
but then if he hits 2 home runs against Skeens, he's the franchise player all of a sudden. After one game. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's a good way to make your debut facing him. Good luck.
The one thing, David, that Ryan and I love about this time of year with opening day is not only, of course, the real baseball is back, but of course a lot of the the reactions and in terms of the Yankees, the Red Sox are going 162-0, of course, after the first one from last year. It's a lot of fun to get baseball back and really get into full swings. Dave, I'm going to ask you, what are some of your expectations for your Phillies? Obviously, kind of early part of the season, you guys, of course, take on the Rangers this weekend, and then you take on the Nationals over in Philadelphia. So you got Christopher Sanchez up on the bump today. What are some predictions of how you think that the series? And Ryan, really quickly too, I want to ask you kind of how you feel like the rest of the series for the Yankees and Giants is going to be after. But let me ask you how you feel about the Phillies and your predictions for the whole entire weekend, and then maybe for next week.
With the Rangers, it's going to be interesting. Evaldi today, it has decent numbers against the Phils. With the way I just see it, I just want to see decent pitching. Hopefully, like you said, especially from Sanchez, Luzardo, and I think Nola's pitching Saturday. That's my little question mark. The bats, we'll see. I mean, they got to face Jacob deGrom on Saturday, and he's got some really good numbers against some of the Phillies. I think with Kyle Schwarber's hitting 105 lifetime against him with like 8 strikeouts. Like deGrom has incredible numbers against the Phillies when he's all years with the Mets. So I'm hoping they get 2 out of 3 there. Like I said, we'll see what happens, whatever else. I mean, if they lose today, of course, people in Philadelphia will think the sky's falling after one game. That's the typical Philadelphia reaction.
Yep.
In regards to the Nats, that's a team every time you should beat them 2 out of 3 or sweep them. I just saw their 5-man rotation for the year. Kate Cavallari, how do you say his last name? Miles McCullough.
Yep. Who?
Jake Irwin, Foster Griffin, and Zach Littell. That's their 5-man rotation this year. That's why the Nats are going to probably lose close to 100 games, and no, it will be at games down at Nationals Park. So that's the thing. You should beat them 2 out of 3. And then after that, like you said, they got to go to Colorado. They should win there handily.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, we talked about this before. First 30 games, you're at 18 or homes, and they're mostly against the Roy teams that you should beat. But like I said, we'll see what happens. I'm more concerned about the hitting. Like, there's going to be situations today. Men in scoring position. Do they knock them in, or is there going to be outs, pop out some Alec Boehm or, whoever. And then also we got the rookie today, Justin Crawford. He's going back knife, see what he does today. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in this series against Texas. It's going to be tough. Texas, Brandon Nimmo is going to be against, like I said, Nimmo's given them fits before. So.
And is Adolis Garcia going to make the starting lineup today?
He will. He'll be the right fielder.
Awesome. So he'll get to face his former team right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate.
Yeah. Ryan, for you. So in terms of your Yanks, of course, you guys won last night, and of course you're off today. But I want to ask you, so you guys, in terms of for the next 2 series, of course, to start the year, you got the Giants, obviously on Saturday. Second game was Will Warren against Tyler Mahle. Friday it is Schlittler against Robbie Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wow, that's really wacky in terms of the way that they're scheduled. And then they go to Seattle, which I think is going to be a really fun series. This, of course, is my projected ALCS. So obviously could kind of get to see that right away. You got Weathers against Castillo on Monday. Tuesday, I don't know, be free against Logan Gilbert. Wow, that's actually a really fun matchup. So, that should be very fascinating to see. But what do you feel about the Yankees, at least prediction-wise? How do you think it's going to be a 2 out of 3? You think it's going to be a sweep, at least to start? How do you feel about, at least for the first 2 series for the Yankees?
I think the Yankees will take 2 out of 3 from the Giants. I think they'll win tomorrow in the game between Schlittler and Robbie Ray. I think Schlittler's going to get his first win of the season tomorrow. I think he'll outpitch Robbie Ray. I think Ray is going to do better than Logan Webb did. The Yankees, because of all the lefties that they have in their lineup, some of them do struggle against southpaws, such as Ben Rice, Jazz Chisholm, Trent Grisham. So I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I'll say the Yankees win somewhere like 3-1, 3-2, 4-2. I think David Bednar will get his first save of the season tomorrow in the second game of that series. And then the finale on Saturday, which is between Will Warren and Tyler Mahle, I'll give that game to the Giants. I think the Giants will take that game. I'm not really high on Will Warren. He's too inconsistent for my liking. I think the Giants will avoid the sweep, and I think they'll take the final game of that series on a Saturday night. So the Yankees, I think, will take 2 out of 3 from the Giants. And then, like you mentioned, they go to T-Mobile Park to take on the Mariners for 3 games. Like you mentioned, Ryan Weathers makes his Yankee debut against Luis Castillo, the ace of the Mariners. Weathers had a rough spring training. He got whacked around pretty good in spring training after that first good start against the Nationals. So if I had to guess, I think, that first game of that series against Seattle, I would probably give that game to the Mariners with the way that I think Weathers is still trying to find his footing. I don't think he's completely found it yet. I think he's still working on some things. I think he's still experimenting with different kinds of pitches, and he's still trying to get used to learning under Matt Blake. So, and he's facing the veteran in Castillo, who always has nasty stuff, and he always pitches well against the Yankees. So I'll give the Mariners the first game of that series. The second game of that series would then be between Max Reed, and he would probably, I guess, go up against who?
Logan Gilbert.
Oh, Logan Gilbert.
Mhm.
I'll give the Yankees a second game.
I would say, yeah.
I kind of like the Yankees odds there, so I will give that to the Yankees, and then
we'll have Schlittler for game 3 if he's for Friday, and that would probably either be Brian Wu or it'd be Kirby. Is Kirby?
I don't know if Kirby's in the rotation right now. I would probably say Brian Wu would go after Logan Gilbert if I had to guess.
Well, Ryan, if you want to take a look, I get to my Red Sox preview by all means, because I feel like it's probably going to be Brian Wu if I had to. Actually, yeah, so right now projected they have Gilbert 1, Kirby 2, Wu 3, and then Castillo 4. So they probably already went through one wave of the rotation. So Castillo, so the Mariners obviously would start with 1 through, it would be what, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So yeah, they'd pretty much be on their back end. So I'd assume it'd be Kirby for game 3 round, if I had to make a guess.
It is.
Is it?
I'm looking at it right now. It's April 1st. It says Schlittler versus Kirby.
I know. All right, so that should be fascinating.
Yeah, I would probably, and in that case, I'm going to give Seattle 2 out of 3. I think the Yankees are going to go. I think the Mariners are going to take 2 out of 3 from the Yankees in Seattle. I'm really high on Seattle's pitching. They're my favorites to win the pennant this year. I think Schlittler will pitch well, but I do think he's going to get outpitched by Kirby in the finale. So overall, that makes the Yankees 500 on the road, 3-3, which not completely ideal, obviously, but not horrible. I'll sign up for it.
Yeah, but take anything above 500, at least be 500 grand, I think you basically sign up for it. All right, let's go to my Red Sox really quickly. So obviously the Red Sox open up they have an interleague and then they have the American League. They kind of have the first two, which is kind of interesting. Kind of like you guys, Ryan, with the Giants and the Mariners. We got the Cincinnati Reds. And I will say, I feel like Cincinnati has a very underrated atmosphere for opening day. Ryan, have the Yankees ever faced the Reds on opening day before? I don't know if they ever done. David, the Phillies ever take on I feel like the Phillies may have taken on the Reds though for opening.
They have.
Yeah. So I don't even know the last time we faced the Reds, honestly, on opening day until now. But it'd be Garrett Crochet against Andrew Abbott, and of course, I wish it was gonna be Hunter Green because that would have been absolute elite pitching duo going at it. But unfortunately, Hunter Green is hurt. But Abbott's pretty good. The Red Sox, like Ryan said, that the Yankees struggle with lefties, the Red Sox struggle with lefties. And right now, and this is something that I wish I could not say, but Ryan's going to get a kick out of this. Alex Cora got asked because Romy Gonzalez, Ryan, you of course know Romy Gonzalez, of course, taking on the Yankees. But Romy Gonzalez is going to be injured for a long period of time. So Alex Cora got asked during spring training this past week, well, if Marcelo Meyer is not going to be able to hit lefties, playing second base, who is going to be their backup? Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. That is what Alex Cora said. So I will say, I think IKF for the most part, I really didn't have like a lot of knocks on him at all in spring. I thought that he just kind of did his job, but just don't make him be an everyday player. That's really all I asked. Meyer, just please stay healthy. That's all I ask, please. But yeah, I mean, the Red Sox, listen, they obviously had a really good WBC. A lot of good, really good things kind of come out of it. Obviously, Walk Ball going to save at the end, but I can't really knock on them at that. But, I think the Reds are going to be a really interesting team this year. I do like the Red Sox taking 2 out of 3, kind of like the Yankees with the Giants. The one thing about the Reds, I feel like, is just their offense. I think it's just very average. Ellie, I think, is an awesome player, but I remember the Yankees taking on the Reds last year, and the Yankees did pretty well against the Reds in Cincy last year. It's just, I don't know. I feel what? No,
we lost 3 from them. We did not play well against the Reds last year.
Wow, I thought.
Yeah, we that was our annual.
Oh yeah, you guys had that game where you blew it, where you definitely should have won. Maybe that was it.
But it's our annual June swoon. Can't wait for that this year.
I do think the Red Sox will take 2 out of 3, especially with Garrett on the bump today. And then obviously they're going to with Sonny Gray on tomorrow, and then they will go with I think Connolly Early will be pitching game 3. Now Ranger Suarez, Cora said that he's going to be pitching game in Texas next week. He's going to be on the back end at least to start. So And then going to Houston, David, you don't really know much about playing in Houston, of course, the Phillies, but Ryan and I, of course, know playing in Houston's a bitch. It's terrible. But if there's one good thing about it, I want to play Houston right out of the gate early. Get them out of the way, get there early. And Houston, listen, Houston is kind of an interesting team. You just really just kind of don't know what to expect. But I do think the Astros are going to have a really, really good year this year. Their offense is still very, very dynamic. They're going to be getting Yordan Alvarez back, Ryan, which, of course, we're not excited for at all. So hopefully he doesn't kill us next week. But right now, I will say I'm going to take a look at in terms of how our probables go for next week, which will kind of determine how I feel about the series. So next Monday, we got Ranger Suarez taking on Lance McCullers Jr. Okay. I kind of like that matchup for us, to be honest. And then Tuesday, that'll be a 8-10 game. It'll be Brian Bale against Hunter Brown. I'll probably give it to the Astros there. Hunter Brown, we can never touch. He's one of the best pitchers in the game. And then April 1st will be a 2-10 game on April Fool's Day. It'll be Garrett Crochet against Mike Burrows. So I'll probably have 2 out of 3 against the Reds and 2 out of 3 against the Astros. And I think that the Red Sox go to 4-2 to start the year, if I had to guess. So, David, you got something?
Yeah, with the Astros, there's one thing you got to look at too with the Red Sox. Their closer and their setup guy are on the IL. Josh Hader.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
He's out. And Bennett Sousa, he's out.
Mm-hmm.
So you get into their bullpen, anything's possible.
Ryan, from a rival standpoint of view, how do you feel about the Red Sox in that stretch?
I would agree with you. What'd you say, 2-4 to begin the season?
I said 4-2. I think we take
4-2. Oh, I'm sorry.
I think we take 2 or 3 in Cincy and then 2 or 3 in Houston next week. But you can make a statement in which we can lose 2 or 3 in Houston as well, because that's just a typical place.
Yeah, I just didn't know the structure of that.
Yeah,
I agree with you taking 2 or 3 against Cincinnati. The Reds, yes, there are expectations for them this year, but I just think they're so young and they're still they still need a couple more years of developing these guys properly. A lot of guys are going through growing pains. Mm-hmm. And then against Houston is always a coin flip. You can either play well there or you can stink down there. Mm-hmm. Both of our teams have played better down there in recent years, I feel.
We played well last year there. And, I mean, Willier and Jared Duran just played in Houston during the WBC. I think they feel pretty comfortable, if you ask me.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I agree with you. I'll give you guys 2 out of 3. So I think you guys will get off to a good start this year.
All right. So that's that. Really quickly, I mean, wow, this show is absolutely fine with all of this stuff. It's great to have baseball back. It really is. Ryan, I guess I have to give it to you. Of course, we can't really go out at the start of the baseball season. Of course, you put in the doctor cap on to start the year. Spencer Strider, Nick Lodolo placed the injured list. And of course, when I picked the Braves as my go-to pick to win the division, everything basically goes downhill. I just knew something in my mind was going to happen like that. Of course, their pitching situation going on. But you know what? I can't switch it up now. But, man, the Braves pitching staff is going under the knife again with some of their guys. And, hey, I'll talk about in terms of the Reds as well, too. Nick Lodolo is a very underrated piece for them. So the Reds definitely could probably go to a really tough start, with, of course, losing Green and Lodolo to start the year. But, Ryan, I'll go to you. What are some things, at least for some guys that are currently hurt to start opening day?
Yeah, so Spencer Strider has an oblique strain, and he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. There's no timetable on when he is due back, but if I had to guess, he'll probably come back in May. That's being optimistic. But
he got hurt last year, Ryan, right?
Yeah,
Didn't he missed come back until like the summer?
He missed the first 6 weeks of last season. And then when he did come back, he stunk up the joint, going 7-14 with a 4.45 ERA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Strider's body just hates him. It just does not want to cooperate with him. I mean, this guy's just had so many injuries over the past couple of seasons, and it's killing the Braves. I mean, like I mentioned, a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about our preseason predictions, I said I don't trust the Braves health-wise, and this is exactly why I don't trust Spencer Strider's body to cooperate with him. It will continue to break down every single season, unfortunately, and it's just it's a horrible, sad reality. I mean, the Braves, besides Chris Sale, I don't really know other, notable names in that rotation, to be honest. I don't see the Braves enough, so I don't really know.
Ronaldo Lopez, Ron.
Yeah.
Put some respect on him, I guess.
Yes. So Lopez, he's got, so there's your depth, I guess.
Bryce Elder.
But they're lack of Bryce Elder. Oh my God, I never thought highly of that guy. He always gets whacked around by the Phillies in the postseason. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough blow, obviously, to the Braves. It's not what they needed. They needed Strider to be healthy, and here he is. He's going to be missing probably the first month of the season at least. So it sucks for Atlanta. There's no doubt about that. And it sucks for Strider, too, because, he had Tommy John surgery a couple of years ago. He missed the entire 24 season. So, and now he's right back to where he was beforehand, struggling with injuries. So it's just really sad. And, I do feel for the guy. I do. And then with Lodolo, with Nick Lodolo for the Reds, I don't really know too much about Lodolo, but, he is going to be going on the injured list. He has a blister on his left index finger. So, I don't think he'll be out too long. He'll probably be back probably sometime mid-April or something like that. But, you got to be careful. You don't want him to, if he's already developing a blister, though, this time of year, then it is a little cause for concern as the season goes on. I could see this popping up again at some point, in the spring or the summer, later on in the spring or the summer. So, Lodolo last year made 29 appearances, and he went 9-8 with a 3.33 ERA. So he could be somebody who the Reds really lean towards when it comes to quality starting pitching. So, I don't think he'll be out as long as Strider, but still, it's not ideal for the Reds. So, yeah, those are just the two injuries that you mentioned.
All right. Well, and David?
Just real quick, one thing. You're talking about the Braves, and then I'll get it back to you. They have 10 guys on the injured list already. 10.
Like I said, I did not trust their health.
Yeah. Catcher's out.
If there has to be a team, listen, if there has to be a team all year that we have to kind of go through in terms of having Ryan talk about, it's easy. It's the Braves. It's just every single year.
Talk to Ryan.
Never ends.
It doesn't end. Well, you know what might end, or what could be ending today? Hopefully not, because I do like to see this. We have a little bit of time here. Today is the day of Tyler O'Neill. Tyler O'Neill, of course, is a king when it comes to hitting home runs on opening day.
Yeah.
So my question for you both, before the show is over, does Tyler O'Neill extend it to 7 straight opening days hitting a home run? And you know what? I love my bet today with Tyler O'Neill hitting another home run because he's taking on the Twins. Joe Ryan, I love me some Joe Ryan, but you know what Joe Ryan also does outside of punching guys out? He will go with the long ball. I'm taking that today. Tyler O'Neill, they're coming. My former guy hitting a homer today. Ryan, does he get 7 straight homers on opening day?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I'll give it to him. I mean, like you said, they're facing the Twins. They're playing. Are they in Baltimore?
They are in Baltimore.
They're in Baltimore. Yeah. I'll say he continues it.
All right. And David, does he get 7 straight homers?
Yes, because I looked up his numbers and he's a lifetime homer against Joe Ryan.
You see, this is why we have David Ryan on the program. This is why we have him on the program. David, you know what? I know, of course, David had a lot of great stats for everybody. He was kind of making a list. Is there anything else we would like to see stat-wise, at least for the program, that you, of course, want to put out for the program today, David?
In terms of what player to watch, you mean?
Players to watch, just anything really quick. Of course, we only have a little more time.
God,
left.
yeah, I don't know.
Anything that you like to kind of put out there that, you feel like you want to share with the audience here?
I have to look it up with certain things. I know there was one of these games coming up. It's not against the Red Sox. Maybe it's this week with whoever Houston's playing to start the season. One of the games, I think Jordan Alvarez is facing one of these pitchers. He's got 3 lifetime home runs against him. I feel like he's going to have one of these great first weeks against whoever he's facing. I think they're playing the Angels. I think it's against Reed Detmers. I think his numbers are off the charts.
I'm looking it up right here. Let's see if I can find it.
They're playing the Angels.
Let's see. Yes, they're playing the Angels. You had, let's see. Wow, you had quite a bit of votes. I don't see anything here though with Jordan Alvarez.
I could have sworn it was one of those things. Yeah, I'd have to look at the numbers. Whatever it is, they were. I think he's facing Detmers in game 2. it was some sort of thing where his numbers against him was just off the charts. But I just feel like he's just due for a monster first week after like last year just having an awful start to the season type of thing. But yeah, so okay, I'm wrong on this one. The guy he's facing is Yusei Kikuchi, I believe is his name. 10 for 28, batting .357 with 3 home runs and 9 RBIs, lifetime.
We'll put a bet in for yard on a hit one as well too. So,
Yeah.
And you know what? We'll put a bet on. We'll put a ball on this show because wow, that was a fun show. This show absolutely flew by. I feel like one of the faster shows that we've had is because opening day is back, folks. And we want to thank you guys. 141 people watching this as well. We had a really good, of course, tune in for that. So. Thank you guys for watching episode 92 of Heading for the Cycle. Happy opening day to everybody who celebrate. And we'll be back here to recap opening day for everybody next week on the show. So hopefully you guys see you guys then. You guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the madness. See you all, folks.